Hello jobbergs! Welcome once again to my channel. This is Sir Job and welcome to Sir Job TV. Para sa lahat po ng mga new explorers tsaka newly discovered pa lang po sa akin channel, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for you to be updated with my future videos. So finally, we're done discussing MELC number 11 in understanding culture, society, and politics. So for today's video, I am super excited to open up the topic in MELC number 12. So our topic for this morning is all about new challenges to human adaptation and social change. Welcome to my video number 87. So good morning once again, Golden Jobbergs. So today is February 15, 2021 and today is Monday. So welcome once again here sa aking YouTube channel. Let's learn once again for another topic in understanding culture, society, and politics. But before going further with my discussion, allow me first to express the description of MELC number 12 that says, examine human responses to emerging challenges in contemporary societies. Okay, so when we are speaking of contemporary, that is the present society that we are living for today. So now let's move to the learning competencies of this particular topic. Okay, the first one is to describe how human societies adapt to new challenges in the physical, social, and cultural environment. Second, to develop a plan of action for community-based response to change. So basically, our focus for this particular video is the changes that occurs in the present society. How are we going to combat these particular changes in order for us to survive, ladies and gentlemen? So let's proceed with our discussion here on the new challenges to human adaptation and social change. Humans are generally adaptive to changes in the environment. That's given. Highlight natin, pag sinabi nating changes, ang tao po, human, as a human being po, we are generally adaptive to changes, meaning to say we can adjust. It is normal for us that whatever changes might come to us or may happen to our existence, we could be able to adjust. Though, nagva-vary po siya in every person. Kasi may mga tao pong ang bilis po nilang maka-adjust, may mga tao din pong it's difficult for them to adjust on the process. But everybody has the power to adjust themselves, ladies and gentlemen. If people perceive relevant changes in the environment they are in, they readily adapt their behavior to meet these new challenges for their own benefit. So, if ever, this is our motivation, okay? Pag kailangan natin for our survival, like for example, you visited other places outside from your country, and kailangan, wala ang family mo, wala ang mga relatives mo, ikaw lang mismo ang pumunta sa lugar na yan. And because you want to survive, because of course at the end of the day, ang atin talagang pinaka-main goal why we are fighting our life is talagang to survive. So since wala kang malalapitan, wala kang matatagpuan, so it is your motivation now to what? To adjust yourself immediately on that particular process. That is why nakalagay dito to meet these new challenges for their own benefit. If it is needed for you to survive, you will be motivated to do something para mas mapabilis ang adaptation mo on that particular changes. Accordingly, changes are inevitable, correct? Changes are inevitable, meaning to say, we cannot control. It is not our control. Nangyayari po talaga ang pagbabago in our society and in any aspects of our lives, talagang nagbabago po siya. Whether we like it or not, changes might occur at some point of our existence. They bring a host of problems, and as humans, we are challenged to respond to these problems not only individually but collectively. There are things, ladies and gentlemen, that we cannot perform on our own. Like for example, the changes in the environmental aspect. Okay, we cannot do that on our own, ladies and gentlemen. So that is why we need people in order to support our projects, in order to support our advocacy, that at the end of the day, we could be able to create an environment na beneficial po ito, or we could be able to create a project that is beneficial for everybody at the end of the day. So ganun po siya. So there are things again that we cannot perform on our own, and we need people to help us to realize this particular advocacy at the end of the day. Many researchers on global warming and climate change focus mostly on what it will bring to the future. Climate change serves as a new challenge to humans today. The changing climatic conditions that we experience tell us that there is an existing environmental problem that needs to be addressed immediately so that it will not give too much negative impact to human beings in the future. Everyone must do something and act on global warming and climate change to ensure the survival of human species. Today, different programs are being implemented worldwide to prevent further global warming and avoid climate change. Despite of this, its effect will definitely last many years from now. Therefore, adaptation to the resulting changes in climate change is necessary. The goal of adaptation to climate change is to increase the ability of our environmental, social, and economic system to cope with this problem. So ladies and gentlemen, very important po that we could be able to contribute within ourselves the changes or the progress of our environment at the end of the day. I hope that wherever you are in the world right now, you will be thinking that you have to preserve your environment. So like for example, I'm living here in the Philippines right now. So if I will have to think for the changes or for the welfare of my environment at the end of the day, if my goal is to preserve my environment and you two have the same goal with mine, then we could be able to create a very wonderful world to be enjoyed not only on our generation but of course for the next generation or for the coming generations to come here in the world, ladies and gentlemen. So we have to preserve. We have to indulge ourselves with the problem of global warming and climate change in our country. These are one of the changes that we have to face as a human being, and we should be part of these particular changes, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's discuss now the transnational migration and overseas Filipino workers. These are also parts of the changes occurred right now in our present generation. Aside from human adaptation to changes in environment, people on Earth are also facing adaptation challenges born by the need for mobility. Okay? People are changing residence rapidly. Na-take note niyo po ito, a lot of Filipinos were transferring now from different countries around the globe. For example, Canada. Marami na po ang migrate ng mga Filipinos and they permanently settled in the United States of America, for example, or Canada, for instance. One of the million reasons why they transferred may be because of the greener pasture that they could be able to experience on that particular country. Because here in the Philippines, maybe they're not satisfied with the kind of wages or salary that they could be able to get from that particular job that they are working. So basically, nagtatransfer po ang ating mga kababayan from different places across the country. These are one of the threatening changes that is happening right now in our country. I already discussed to you na yung magagaling nating mga professionals here in the country were already working in different places across the globe. So meaning to say, yung natira sa atin dito, yung hindi masyadong expert on that particular field. Because lumilipat po, as I said to you, sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo because for them, doon po ang kanilang survival and they're not satisfied for the kind of compensation that they are accepting in this particular country at the end of the day. And that is reality that is happening right now. Okay, that's why it's part of the changes of the society that we have to understand at this particular video. Migration, when we are speaking kasi of transnational migration, we have to define first the concept of migration. Migration is defined as the process of geographic mobility. Okay, from the word geographic mobility, meaning to say you have to transfer from one place to another, or the change of residence of a person from one community to another with the intention of settling temporarily or permanently on that particular place na pinili niya. Pwedeng temporarily doon siya magsisettle or pwede rin for the rest of his life doon niya talaga piniling manatili sa lugar na yan. Ladies and gentlemen, that is migration at the end of the day. Meaning to say, geographically speaking, lumipat ka po ng residence. There are three types of migration. If we are going to discuss the concept of migration, may tatlong uri po ang migration. The first one is ang tinatawag nating international migration. Ano ibig sabihin nito? International migration is the permanent transfer from one country to another. So meaning to say, highlight po natin ito, permanent transfer from one country to another. Like for example, you are living in the Philippines for a couple of years and then right after that one, lumipat ka sa Canada because nandoon ang trabaho mo and you settled them for the rest of your life. Meaning to say, naging Canadian citizen ka na rin. So that is what we called international migration. Meaning to say, lumagpas ka na sa Philippine jurisdiction. Okay? Hindi lang province to province ang pinag-uusapan, kundi po country to country na po ang pinag-uusapan pag sinabi nating international migration. The other one is ang tinatawag nating internal migration. Pag sinabi kong internal migration, a change of residence within a country is called internal migration. So, ibig sabihin, from Butuan City ka, for example, nakatira, lumipat ka ng Davao, ng Cagayan de Oro, or in Visayas, like for example, Cebu, or in Quezon City of Luzon. So, that is what we called internal migration. Kasi ang paglipat mo ay nasa loob pa rin ng isang bansa. Hindi ka lumagpas sa bansa mo nang doon pa rin sa bansa mo. Just you transferred only sa isang probinsya to another province. That is what we called internal migration. The other one is the circular migration. Is a temporary movement of a person. So meaning to say, lumipat ka sa lugar na to, but at the end of the day, bumalik ka na naman sa pinanggalingan mong lugar. That is circular migration. So parang nag-tour ka lang from around the world, umikot ka lang from around the world or sa lugar ninyo dyan, sa place ninyo, umikot ka lang, no? Because you settled here for just a couple of months and right after bumalik ka sa pinanggalingan mo because you know it's hard for us to give up the place where we grow or saan tayo na-develop as a person. Talagang babalikan natin yung lupang tinubuan natin in our own term here in the Philippines. Talagang you will be missing that particular place. Kahit saan ka man mapadpad ng mga paa mo, you will always have to think yung pinanggalingan mo, saan ka talaga nagmula because napakaraming memories. So, this is something to do with the concept of the circular migration, meaning to say, bumalik ka. Okay, umalis ka ng ilang buwan pero bumalik ka rin, no, sa place na kung saan ka po nanggaling. So that is the concept of the circular migration. So again, yung tatlo nating pinag-usapan, pag sinabi nating migration, may tatlong uri po siya. Merong international migration, merong internal migration, and meron din pong circular migration. The next one is, let's discuss the transnational migrants. Okay, transnational migrants are those persons who, having migrated from one nation state to another, okay, live their lives across borders, participating simultaneously in social relations that embed them in more than one nation state. So pag sinabi kong transnational migrants, we are actually talking to the people, tao po ang pinag-uusapan dito, okay? Yun pong mga taong nag-migrate. Kasi kanina, migration yun, the process of transferring one place to another. Proseso. Pero pag sinabi kong transnational migrants, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is yung mga taong lumipat po ng residence, okay, outside the border of her country. Okay, that is the point. So kung silang ang grupong ito or ang familyng ito is finally nag-migrate na sa United States of America, sila po ay tinatawag nating transnational migrants. Nakuha niyo pong ibig sabihin? Okay. So, the next one is the concept of overseas Filipino worker, or known to us as OFW, is a person of Filipino origin who lives and works outside the Philippines. Usually, ang pag sinabi nating OFW, here in our country, sila po talaga ay lumipat or sila po ay nagpunta sa ibang bansa for job opportunities. Usually po, may mga iba na pumunta po doon because they have their relatives and they want to settle for the rest of their lives on that particular place. Pwede din po yun. Tinatawag din po natin silang mga overseas Filipino workers because usually, pag pumunta ka po doon, you will still have to work. Of course, mamamatay ka naman if you will not be working. Even if you have your relatives there in Canada, for example, you still be working in order for you to survive. So that is what we call the overseas Filipino workers. They are working outside the Philippine jurisdiction. Okay? This term applies to Filipinos who are abroad indefinitely as citizens or as permanent residents. Okay, of a different country, and to those Filipino citizens who are abroad for limited definite period as workers or as students. They are called bagong bayani ng bayan. So as how they termed, ito po ang sinasabi nilang mga bagong bayani ng bayan for today. Because being an OFW, ang laki po ng naitulong nila sa ating bansa. We have to end up our connotation because some of them or some of us were actually termed or coined a concept to them na hindi sila patriotic enough or hindi sila nationalistic enough because they're working not for Filipinos but outside the Philippine jurisdiction. But mind you, I would like to rectify that notion at this very juncture. Remember, our OFWs were working too hard para makapagbigay po ng mga dolyares dito sa ating bansa na binabayad po natin sa ating mga major transactions as a sovereign state. Okay, kasi may mga transactions po tayo na outside from our country and we need dollar as a currency in order for us to do the transaction, ladies and gentlemen. So napakalaking tulong po ng mga OFWs here in our country. And take note, hindi nila kagustuhan, some of them, actually, hindi nila kagustuhan na pumunta ng ibang bansa just for them to work. It's hard. No, napakahirap po na you have to go away from your family, your children are crying, but still you really have to go away from your family in order for you to work and to give their basic needs at the end of the day. So you have to think about that. So you go to abroad for some reasons. Depende po. May mga pumunta doon because they want to become a citizen of the country. Pwedeng pumunta doon for a job opportunity na ngayon na i-offer sa kanya. Pwede din pong gusto niya mag-aral in other country, kaya may mga student visa po tayo. Or pwede din pong bumisita ka lang talaga sa lugar. That is kumuha ka ng tourist visa in order for you to see Thailand, for example, China, Indonesia, or whatever country you want to visit with. So just like that, no? We have to consider. But usually, may mga tao talaga na they settled, especially in countries which is open for migration, like for example, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. They're welcoming Filipinos because, ang Filipinos po kasi madali siyang tanggapin ng mga bansang ito because we could be able to speak their language, no? Specifically the English language, we could be able to deliver and communicate with them. So that is why it's no longer hard for the Filipinos to stay with these particular countries at the end of the day. So that will be all for this morning. I hope you learned something from this video and I hope that you will share this video to your friends and to anybody else that you think na kailangan ng video na ito. Asahan niyo po that Sir Job TV will continue to discuss more meaningful discussions, especially in the field of social sciences. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye!